time, no less. Good morning, comrades. It is a little bit late on Tuesday, the 1st of June, June 1, 2021. This is your Good Morning Comrade for today. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I had actually a very important phone call with a friend about some stuff. So sorry about that. But see, we got G Wolf in chat. He's already drinking half his coffee. All right. So how are we doing today? How's it going? I had that thing. Yeah. This is gonna be like a really awesome way to start for the show today. We're finally hitting the point of the year where allergies are so bad that like I'm like retching in the morning. Like I can't even you ever have like the sinus problems that they get so bad that they end up in your throat and it feels like you're drowning, like you're waterboarding yourself with your own snot. That was part of my morning. So that's how I've been feeling today. Hey, what's up, Kenzo? For the last week? Yeah, Gary, you get it. Yeah. Oh, you're a winter for that? You're winter for that? It's I don't know why it was just this morning. I don't know. Sorry to start you with an early morning gross out, but there you go. Hey, so Kenzo, I do want to ask, when does summer start for y'all? Because we just, I think, well, yeah, Thursday was our last day in schools. We're done. We're wrapped up. We just wrapped it up. I also want to talk about this story. 22nd was the last day for kids. Oh, 22nd of June. Okay. 25th is the last day for teachers. So y'all got about a month left. Okay. Yeah, we usually start at the beginning of August and we wrap up end of May. I did want to talk about this story, which is kind of alarming, actually. And it's not like, well, it's a political story, yes. But it's also you start after Labor Day. Okay, that would be nice. It's just a lot cooler then. Oh, by the way, new addition to the set of the program, we have now scrolling along the bottom our patrons. So thank you to Ty Judy, Michael H, Dan O, Jonathan H, Timothy C, Dragon Slayer 19, Andy L, Gary W, and Rachel K for supporting Good Morning Comrade at patreon.com/Good Morning Comrade. Delicious. Good coffee. All right. So here, this is kind of a sports story, kind of a politics story, kind of a where they kind of collide. And he's been staring at it for 20 minutes and didn't notice. That's awesome. But yeah, sports politics sort of like coming together into one. Naomi Osaka, who is one of the top women's tennis players in the world, actually quit the French Open. She resigned after getting some So we'll read through the story, but essentially what's happening is she has been under fire for not talking to press after events, in part because she feels, and likely so, like this is true, that this has not been good for her mental health. She feels disrespected by reporters in many ways. Let's I'm only here so I don't get suspended. Yeah, exactly. Four-time Grand Slam champion, tournament winner, wrote on Instagram that she had suffered from bouts of depression since 2018 and that she would, quote, take some time away from the tennis court. So in Paris, week-long confrontation between Naomi Osaka, the second-ranked woman in tennis and leader of the sport's 4 Grand Slam tournaments, turned bitter on Monday when Ms. Osaka withdrew from the French Open, citing concerns for her mental health. The move was a dramatic turn in the high-stakes standoff between the most powerful officials in tennis and Miss Osaka. You love when when athletes say no to sports media, the worst media. I mean, any industry that can employ Skip Bayless has got to be like it's irredeemable, right? Ms. Osaka drew from the French Open, citing concerns for mental health. The move was a dramatic turn for the high-stakes standoff between the most powerful officials in tennis and Ms. Osaka, the player, 23, is not only the world's highest-paid female athlete, I didn't know that, but is also a generational superstar who has quickly become the most magnetic figure in tennis. Does Jay Mariotti still get work? Does Jay Mariotti still like get work? That would be incredible. I mean, that's wow. Moves a dramatic turn, a high-stakes standoff between the most powerful officials in tennis and Miss Osaka, the player, Naomi Osaka, 23, is not only the world's highest-paid. Okay, I already did that one. Quote, I think now the best thing for the tournament, the other players, and my well-being is that I withdraw from so that everyone can get back to focusing on tennis and going to Paris. Now, here's something that here's the thing that's like kind of fucked up about this. Like not kind of fucked up, it's really fucked up. Like she basically was saying no to going to press conferences after events, after her, if she won her first round match, she refused to go, and they fined her $15,000 and essentially said, "Get your ass back in these press conferences, or we're gonna make it worse." And so essentially, she's decided, fuck it, it's not worth it. I'm out of here. Which, I mean, I get it. The questions around social anxiety and depression are, I mean, I'm sure very significant to her, but like, I think that that's an important part of this, but also I think the expectation that, I don't know, I find it that to be a weird expectation that you will just like, you're required to do press and there's no reason to not do it. And you will get punished if you don't. And I don't know, like, it's really weird to think about like this feels, I don't know. I kind of don't know why I'm covering this story completely, to be totally honest, which is like not the best thing to say when you're in the middle of a article on this, but like it just feels to me that this is like just extremely wrong that she was forced into this position, and Roland Garros, which is the club that the French Open takes place at, put her in that position because that's where they make their money. And that's basically the long and the short of it. Like, she won't generate, news and therefore, further interest in this event. So she must be punished for it. And I mean, it's probably somewhere in some contract that she's agreed to do this or whatever, but it's still bullshit. It's bullshit. Yeah, it's not the first time that who rarely gets post-game interviews, always made no sense to me. I mean, it's like, what's your hot take from this like extremely overwhelming experience that you just got through? And again, it's sports. Like, it feels not particularly consequential a lot of times. But like, I don't know, it's emblematic. Maybe I'm wrong, but like it feels emblematic of larger problems in the society. Like when you work for, your boss, they feel like they can control and force you to do things, which is true. Um, and this is just that dynamic playing out like in a sort of like ridiculous scale. What did you do? Scored more? Yeah. She skipped her post-match news conference on Sunday as Osaka did take 3 questions after the match from an on-court interviewer, Fabrice Santoro, and a few more queries on her way off the court from Wow Wow, the Japanese broadcaster with which she is under contract, as Miss Osaka plays for Japan and lives in the United States. Few of Miss Osaka's colleagues have shown unequivocal support for her stance. Few have, not many. Who has? Okay. Preston players and the tournament comes hand in hand. Says some schmuckety. Oh, this is a player, Victoria Azarenka, 2-time Grand Slam champion. So she's kind of being isolated by the other players too, which is also kind of fucked up. I think it's important, very important in developing our sport and promoting our sport. She added that there were moments when the media did need to be more compassionate. Yes, the sports media needs to be more compassionate. Miss Williams has been through many difficult conferences during her career, but viewed the experience as having made her stronger. I feel for Naomi. I wish I could give her a hug because I've been in those situations. This is from Serena Williams. You have to let her handle it the way she wants to handle it the best they can. That's actually a really nice comment by Serena Williams on this. Tour officials have long believed that news conferences are an important part of promoting the sport and athletes themselves. Ms. Osaka's questions and assumptions. If organizations think they can keep playing, do press, or you're going to get fired, and continue to ignore the mental health of athletes that are the centerpiece of their cooperation, then I just got to laugh. She wrote on social media on Wednesday. That's from Osaka. Last week, the WTA Tour said it welcomed a dialogue with Ms. Osaka about mental health, but stood by its position on press obligations for players. She was under a lot of fire for how things went with well, she was very supportive of Black Lives Matter and things like that a year ago as well, and she's got a lot of scrutiny for that, and that probably explains her relationship with sports media, um, in a, at least part of what this dynamic is. Professional athletes have a responsibility. Okay, this is the WTA talking. Professional athletes have a responsibility to their sport and their fans to speak to the media surrounding their competition, allowing the opportunity to share their perspective and tell their story. Yes, you're allowed the opportunity, so much so that you're forced to provide it. As Miss Osaka is, the other thing too, the same kind of people that are like, shut up and play. You know how that happens? Like, oh, I don't want Colin Kaepernick to be kneeling or whatever, which, but like they're the shut up and play people. Like, she literally just wants to shut up and play, and she's getting fucking like raked over the coals entirely. She literally just wants to shut up and play. Miss Osaka is certainly not the only athlete to have acknowledged mental health struggles. Michael Phelps talked openly about his struggles with depression and suicidal thoughts. Kevin Love has spoken about having a panic attack during a game. Whoa. Data shows that as many as 35% of elite athletes have suffered from mental health crisis such as stress. 35 is a lot. 35%. Wow. Eating disorders, burnout, depression, or anxiety, including Athletes for Hope, a group that seeks to engage athletes in charitable causes. Although tournament officials allowed Ms. Osaka a platform to demonstrate her beliefs last summer, this time leaders for the sport's most prestigious sport events refused to bend. Ms. Osaka said they refused to engage with them. leaving them with no choice but to pursue significant penalties to help ensure that she not gain an advantage over her competitors. What? Not talking to the press is a competitive advantage. So talking to the press is actually competitively negative. At least you're admitting it, I guess. We want to underline that rules are in place to ensure all players are treated exactly the same, no matter their stature, beliefs, or achievement, the official stated. As a sport, there is nothing more important than ensuring no player has an unfair advantage over another, which unfortunately is the case in this situation. If this is bullshit, like this is absolute utter bullshit. Like you have a competitive advantage. Okay, the competitive advantage is if you don't go to press conferences, then you don't get like you don't have to answer these bullshit questions that they're going to ask you. But like, what if the other person doesn't go to the press conference either? Why does anybody go to the press conference? Like, they just want to make sure that people are doing that, and like this, I don't know. There's a lot more of like people in general, not just athletes, speaking for themselves through their own channels like social media, etc. Like um it's kind of a really dated concept, these press conferences, but they're monetizable in certain ways. Since the inception of social media more than a decade ago, sports stars, politicians, and celebrities, especially those who are younger, have increasingly used it to speak directly to their fans. The pandemic, which has forced nearly all news conferences and sports to be held virtually, has accelerated the power shift, making events that led to Miss Osaka's withdrawal from the tournament even more surprising. Sophia Kenin, the Player of the Year of the Women's Tour 2020, said she respected Miss Osaka's decision and acknowledged that the pressures of being a young star are intense. This is what you signed up for, Miss Kenin said. This is sport. There's expectations from the outside, sponsors, and everyone. You just have to somehow manage it. That's not great. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. I just thought that was interesting that this was like what's going on right now, specifically in sports. I don't cover a lot of sports on here these days, even though I don't watch as much sports as I used to. I used to watch a lot of sports, like all the time, and it just sort of like seems a lot less significant, I guess, these days. I don't know. I was out grilling all day yesterday outside. We actually lost power in this house yesterday at around probably around 1. We actually heard like a transformer just explode, like sound like a gunshot. And then we lost power for about 3 hours. But it doesn't matter when you're grilling. It doesn't matter when you're grilling, folks. When you're grilling, you don't need electricity. And we were sitting outside anyway, and it's hot as fuck. What's Bernie up to? Bernie says Senate Dems must show the same courage by passing a voting rights bill. Oh, the For the People Act. All right. Let's take a quick look at Bernie's tweets. Democrats prevented Texas Republicans on Sunday from passing a major bill to redistricting vote, but a special session could be called to restart the process. Bernie says, congratulations to Democrats in Texas for protecting democracy and right to vote. Let's see if Democrats in the U.S. Senate have the same courage. We must pass S1 for the People Act, the future of American democracy. I think, okay, that's fine. That's fine. This is fine. Sorry for a little low energy today. When I started, my morning, like I said before, it was, oh God, what the fuck is Candace Owens trending for? Do I want to know? What did she do? Oh boy. Oh shit. What's going on here? All right. It's not political correctness to have a soul in modicum of decency. Reminder, these men died, the majority of them on foreign soil, so that you could be free. You do not Photoshop murderers into their uniforms so that you can have a laugh. What? Did she get no? She got in a fight with Ken Klippenstein. Okay. What? All right, what's going on here? We're going on a ride, folks. Going on a ride. What happened here? What, I need to know the truth. Real Candace Owens' political correctness got Ken Klippenstein fired from his job. Now he's deleting tweets to cover. Now she's deleting tweets to cover up her assault on free speech. This is, I mean, where? All right. Give me something real. Fucking hell. Nobody's got even an article up about this. I want dirt, baby. Give me dirt. Give me dirt. So she's deleting tweets, but what did she say? Ken Klippenstein fired. Wait, after tasteless Lee Harvey Oswald prank? And this called, wait. What is Meow? Is this a right wing site? Let's see. Claims he was fired from The Intercept after Candace Owens took offense for his Memorial Day prank targeting conservatives like Matt Gaetz, Matt Schlapp, and Dinesh D'Souza. Jokes can have serious consequences, as journalist Clem Klippenstein recently discovered. Klippenstein took to Twitter to announce that he's been fired from his job at The Intercept following a prank he played on Matt Gaetz, Matt Schlapp, and Dinesh D'Souza. But they aren't to blame. He tweeted Candace Owens. Klippenstein took the internet by storm after he jokingly sent a photo of Lee Harvey Oswald in his uniform to Gaetz, Schlapp, and D'Souza, asking them to retweet his grandfather on Memorial Day. That's awesome. That's a great joke. Before realizing the prank deleted their tweets, Owens, though, ended up in a bit of a row with Klippenstein before she too deleted one of her tweets. Trolling conservatives is nothing new. Klippenstein pulled a similar prank on former Iowa Rep. Steve King in April. My Pillow guy was pranked during a show when a caller pretended to be Trump, but it seems like Klippenstein's gone too far. No, he hasn't gone too far. He shouldn't be fired. Fired for truth. Is it not political? It is not political correctness to have a soul and a modicum of democracy. Reminder: these men died, the majority of them on foreign soil, so that you could be free. You do not Photoshop murderers into their uniforms so that you can have a laugh. Yeah, you do. Lighten up, you fucking snowflake. Tell Candace Owens I hope she hasn't looking for my job. Fired for truth. Stop the Kansas Owens steal my job. There's Carlos Ramirez Rosa amplifying. And yeah, she started deleting. I mean, she had done nothing wrong. She wouldn't be deleting. What's Luke Savage saying? Thought conservatives were against cancel culture, right? Solidarity with recently fired Clint Klippenstein terminated for climber of truth. Val censorship. Cancel. I mean, he literally got canceled from his job. So should we? I mean, is he doing a Substack? Is this like old news and I'm just like coming to figure it out? Yeah, he got fired. Dude got fired. What the fuck? What the fuck? You're making mock of a day that is meant to memorialize men that died so that you and other anti-American lefts can laugh at their sacrifices by photoshopping a murderer into their uniforms. You are deranged, as is any person applauding your efforts. I am deranged as I applaud Clint Klippenstein. Would not have guessed you cared so much about being politically correct. Okay. Yeah, we already read that one. And now she deleted both of those tweets. What a coward. That was, I mean, I don't know if it was worth it. I mean, if I lost my job, I would feel pretty awful, but like, he's definitely right. Even when his gang's still. I can't read this because she blocked me. Most people that lie for a living block people that expose them. What? Oh, that's the Miley Cyrus. Funny. Breaking points with Crystal and Sagar. So they're not doing Rising anymore. They're changing the outfit. Okay. Lindsey Graham. I'm not clicking that. Battle over Jim Crow Road divides rural California town. Property owners and residents face off. Oh, name changes. Okay. Oh yeah, it's Pride. Yeah, happy Pride Month, everybody. That's why Stonewall's trending. Cool. Did he already say he'll be present in 10 minutes relatively? What? You'll be in the present in 10 minutes relatively. No, but it's good to know that. Good morning, Lauren. I'm just kind of like surveying my Twitter feed at this point. Seeing what's going on. Yeah, Stonewall was a riot. Yes, it was. Labor Party supporting. Cool. I don't have a lot to say about Pride other than like have fun. There was some weird discourse about it that like people had weird hot takes about like their positions on like, you know, kids seeing stuff at Pride. I'm just sort of like, I don't know. I don't particularly want to argue a socially conservative position, nor do I want to argue with socially conservative people on that issue. So I'm just not going to fuck with it. Plus, it's like me veering way out of my lane to like jump into that conversation. So I'm just gonna let that go. Not have that conversation. Dude, news has been like very sleeper lately, like very, very, very slow. I don't know. So I'm just vibing here today. Let's look at this. Yeah, this is a video on the
this episode.
Wars. What the fuck? No, that's not what I wanted. I can't do anything right today.
Is brought to you by CuriosityStream. Get free access to Nebula, the streaming platform built by all your favorite YouTubers, when you sign up for CuriosityStream at the link below. The world is full of valuable resources. Some are valuable because they produce energy, others because our ancestors found them a convenient medium of exchange. But there's one resource that stands above the rest, one that has allowed the continued existence of life on Earth: water. Earth is known as the blue planet. Over 70% of the Earth's surface is covered in water, but most of it is very salty. Humans require fresh water, which represents only 3% of the planet's total amount. Of that 3%, 2/3 are frozen in ice caps and glaciers, leaving just 1% of the water on Earth fit and available for human consumption. If that sounds like a disaster waiting to happen, it's because it is. Climate change and growing water consumption are rapidly depleting this vital resource, and that's leading to global tension. In this episode, we're going to discuss the consequences of our shrinking water supply and what we should expect in the coming decades.
And this is also probably like a pretty good argument for why we should be less cavalier about our infrastructure when it comes to water. I'm thinking about, what went down in fucking Flint, Michigan, when they just decided, let's just change, where we're going to be getting our water from. And it's going to corrode our pipes and put lead in the water in the city of Flint. So hopefully he touches on that. I assume that they're going to touch on that.
Let's start with some basic facts. Human civilization is heavily dependent on water. There's a reason 90% of human populations can be found within 10 kilometers of a body of fresh water. Over the years, some cities have misused their water supply or failed to consider its importance, leading to problems down the line. Mexico City is one notable example. Initially constructed by the Aztecs, Mexico City was once located on a large lake. Over the years, the Spanish drained the lake to make room for more buildings, and today, the city is home to over 20 million people and an acute water crisis. Cape Town, South Africa is another striking example. Beginning in early 2017, the city started to experience a severe water shortage, and over the following year, they became the first major metropolitan area to begin a countdown to day zero, the day they would completely run out of water and shut off the taps. This was quite a wake-up call to the people of Cape Town, and between strict government rationing of water use and an impressive response by the people, the city was able to push back day zero several times, and eventually stop the countdown altogether. But these emergency measures will not be enough going forward. More and more cities are facing water shortages, and the brunt of the suffering disproportionately affects poor people, those who are already living precariously. Water insecurity and inequality are only
necessarily the case in capitalism, right? Because if the price of water is going to go up, the people who have the least ability to get it are the ones with the least resources.
Getting worse. According to an assessment by the UN, a full 2/3 of the world will live in water-scarce regions by 2025, which could displace as many as 700 million people. And by 2040, most of the world won't have enough water to meet demand year-round. We can get by without most resources, but we cannot live without water. A human being can only survive 3 or 4 days without water. It's non-negotiable. When a region experiences a water shortage, it starts a domino effect that can have disastrous consequences. Water scarcity leads to food insecurity as crops die and farmers can't irrigate their fields. Critical systems begin to fail, sparking violence, either internal between members of the affected population or external by their government to secure more water from contested sources. These are usually small-scale conflicts, and often don't involve the use of military force. Fighting over water is not unheard of, but so far, there have been fewer than 30 instances of armed conflict over this precious resource. This number will increase dramatically in the coming years. So, what factors are causing these problems, and can we avoid them? A big part of the problem is climate change. As global average temperature rises, regional weather can become erratic and unpredictable. We are seeing more droughts, more wildfires, hotter temperatures, and less precipitation, often in already critically dry regions. As these weather trends continue, water reserves will dry up, and regions without the means to secure more water will face a serious problem. We all need to drink water to survive, but we also need to allocate water to produce food. Farming, especially less advanced methods, uses a tremendous amount of water. Growing necessary, region-appropriate crops is one thing, but we humans also have a tendency to demand food that is incredibly water inefficient. The king of these inefficient foods is beef. For each kilogram of beef purchased by the consumer, we spend 15,400 liters of water.
Vegans, if you're in the chat, time for you to go off, folks.
water. Per cow, that's 2.7 million liters, more water than you'd find in an Olympic swimming pool. One comparatively easy way to conserve water would be to limit the amount of beef we produce. We in the imperial core have become accustomed to being able to buy whatever food we want whenever we want it. This comes with serious consequences, including the use of slave labor in developing countries and highly
I
inefficient
will say this, like, as long as there will be like consumer markets for food in the way that they currently exist, there's going to be no incentive for there to be a wholesale change in how food is produced. So like I guess the sort of like structural argument to like that, you know, if you're a vegan or whatever, that you would want to, like, an anti-capitalist sort of vegan argument would be not to like individually like address people's issues with like, oh, you eat meat, we're gonna throw blood on you or whatever happens, which is also extremely politically unpopular. But also like what it needs to be done is address the system that produces this much fucking beef, and just sort of changing how that is, changing it from what it is now, which is, like we just said, extremely water inefficient, which is like a actually decent argument for veganism or whatever, and moving it towards like something that requires less meat. I don't know, just a fleeting thought.
farming methods to produce crops we normally wouldn't be able to get in certain
I
seasons.
actually have a lot of questions about lab meat. I'm interested in it, and want to, like, I would love to like talk to somebody who like does lab meat, like who knows about lab meat. If you do know anybody, send them my way, because that is fascinating stuff to me.
Considering the average American's carbon footprint and level of consumption far exceeds the global average, we need to be willing to make some sacrifices to help mitigate both climate change and stress on the dwindling water supply. The final factor that influences the availability of water is allocation of the handful of major freshwater sources around the world. There exist a number of critical rivers that provide water for huge numbers of people and vast expanses of farmland. And more often, the people towards the end of the chain aren't getting enough. The 5 big locations for control of water are the Ganges, the Nile, the Tigris and Euphrates, the Indus, and the Colorado River. I recently worked on a documentary about the state of the Colorado River, and the problems we face here in the US are pretty alarming. The Colorado River provides water for 7 states, many large cities, including
Wow, I
Los
did not know
Angeles and Las
Colorado River
Vegas,
specifically
5.5
had
million acres of
significant.
farmland, and over 40 million people. It's currently in its 20th year of drought. There is more water leaving critical reservoirs like Lake Mead and Lake Powell than there is flowing in. Lake Mead currently sits at 39% capacity, and Lake Powell at 36%. If the drought continues, and at this point people are having to seriously consider whether this is simply the new normal, a large portion of the US will run out of their reliable water supply in a matter of years. States like Arizona are having to start prepping for their own day zero countdowns. And tension between states and between urban areas and agricultural areas is becoming more severe. Each state wants to ensure they get their allotted water, and that's becoming more and more difficult. Fighting between municipal water providers and farmers is constant. The urban areas saying they use water more efficiently and provide water to a far greater number of people, while agricultural areas claim their farmland as their birthright and assert that they're providing a valuable service to the country by producing their crops. While farming is critical, we do produce a lot of crops in desert regions to accommodate spoiled Americans wanting certain foods all throughout the year, which requires an enormous amount of water. Water rights are an incredibly complex and fraught topic, but I suspect American farming practices will eventually have to change. But whether
well, that's the constant fucking problem that we always come up with. As soon as it's a crisis, they'll start to do something about it. Like, the problem that we keep running into with things like climate change and things like potentially this water issue is that, or I mean, I wouldn't even say potentially, I'd say inevitably this water issue is that when it affects the people who have the least political power, which it always affects first. It's just a trait of capitalism. Like, it literally doesn't get addressed. It doesn't get addressed until it is a problem for or enough of a problem for the people in power to either feel it or be afraid that it might happen to them soon enough. So like it might be a fucking while before that happens, and who the fuck knows? Like they might be like hoarding like secret water reservoirs like for the rich people. I mean, like Nestle and other like corporations are already privatizing a lot of the existing water aquifers that exist. So like it might not be a huge problem for rich people, and it might be something that's like tremendously lucrative because capitalism, because they once they own privately, you know, a significant amount of water, the price of that water is going to go up, and you can sell it for way more than what what you would otherwise get. That's a potential opportunity, if you see what I'm saying.
In the US or around any of the other key rivers, many of the disputes over water ownership stem from overuse of rivers, poor logistical planning, and the construction of dams or diversions, which downriver populations feel, often rightly, are preventing them from getting the water they need.
Yeah.
This is especially common along the Nile.
Just saving that shit for later, right? It's speculative investment.
Where Egypt often doesn't receive enough water by the time the Nile has passed through the 9 nations further upstream. Regardless of where in the world these tensions arise, they all present a potential flashpoint for conflict, especially in regions where a water source is shared by nations with less than friendly relations. I'm sure many of you heard the Vice President's recent statement about water.
And here's the other thing, because I also, I'm in a lot of meetings on foreign policy. For years and generations, wars have been fought over oil. In a short matter of time, they will be fought over water.
While it is striking to hear a politician admit that current wars are fought over oil.
Behind her, by the way. If Kendra's still in the chat, he knows her well. That is Lori Lightfoot, Mayor of Chicago. Thumbs down for her.
Over water.
While it is striking to hear a politician admit that current wars are fought over oil and not to spread freedom and democracy like they so often claim.
Actually, I remember when she said this. I don't remember the other context that she rolled out for this, but I mean, is that a reason to like be aggressive? Like, probably so. Like the reason for aggressive foreign policy will be water, essentially. God damn.
This is actually a 1995 quote by a former World Bank vice president. We've known for years that our water supply would become a point of contention in the next few decades, and we've done very little to mitigate the problem. In fact, just like with climate change, those in power have tried to find ways to monetize the suffering of others. The US is the most powerful country in the world by far. That fact has completely gone to our heads. And because of this, American leadership feels we have the right to invade other nations for literally any reason, or no reason at all. When we figured out we'd need more oil to maintain our dominance, the US invaded countries with large amounts of oil. The same will happen with water. We'll occupy countries where water conflict is starting to pop up, we'll claim we're there to maintain order and stability, and all the while we'll make the problem worse to feed our industrial war machine and quietly siphon off all the water we need. Then you've got individual billionaires like Bill Gates, who has finally gotten some recognition.
This motherfucker right here has got his hand in every possible, like, sinister soup that he can get it into.
As the terrible person he is for trying to prevent free vaccine distribution in order to make even more money. The Gates family owns nearly 270,000 acres of land, most of it agricultural. If I were a betting man, I would assume that Bill's got some nefarious intent with the water rights on that land. Then, of course, we've also commodified water, and you can now speculate on water futures on the stock market.
Oh, hell
but
yeah.
we commodify everything,
up,
so
up.
This should come as no surprise. Though it does seem deeply dystopian to have wealthy people betting on drought severity while their fellow human beings suffer. If you put that in a movie script, the producers would say it's too on the nose. But this is the reality of the state of water precarity around the world. Reserves are drying up, key sources of fresh water are quickly becoming flashpoints for conflict, and imperialist nations like the US are gearing up to fight their next generation of wars over water. It's a shame to say that we really shouldn't have expected any different. The only goal of the imperial core and capitalist powers of the world is and always has been the maintenance of global domination and the exploitation of the developing world for their resources. water is no different. It's a resource that everyone needs, and that makes it incredibly valuable. The water wars are coming. They won't be advertised as such, but watch where imperialist militaries end up. It's only a matter of time. If you'd like to learn more about what the world could look like as we approach day 0, I highly recommend you check out World Without Water on CuriosityStream.
All right. Well, there you go. That was a pretty good video. Let me link it here.
It's a
Oops. And here we go. Copy. Check it out. Follow Second Thought. They put out good videos, like, and really a kind of an amazing clip too. They do like one a week. As opposed to us, where we're usually 5 days a week. Like I said before, sorry I was a little bit late. I had a really important conversation I had to have with a friend. But that, things go. But I want to just highlight once again our Patreon subscribers that we have. Ty Jitty, Michael H, Dan O, Jonathan H, Timothy C, Dragon Slayer 19, Andy L, Gary W, and Rachel K. YouTube in bright mode is bright. It's got dark mode now? Is this new? How do you change it to dark mode? Appearance and device theme, dark theme. There. Boom. It even looks better. All right, folks. Well, that's going to be it for me today. Y'all have it's had it for almost a year? Well, learn something new every day. All right. Have a great day. I love you. Bye-bye.